Here are the top posts from relationships on the 9th of January 2020. GRB 3456. My mother is worried about missing early bonding time with my newborn baby, but we want that time to ourselves. N. Dave T. Am I being mean? No, and I'm sad, but not surprised, that you're even asking that question. How do I better express my boundary needs? It's not a matter of expressing them, monsieur. She doesn't understand because she doesn't want to understand. Just keep repeating the perfectly reasonable thing you already said. You're the grandparent. You don't need to bond like a mother. My husband and I and our new child, the three of us are the focus here. Be like a broken record.
Lived in Germany for a few years. My dad convinced me that windshield wipers were called flip-and-flop and muck-and-spreaders. This was pre-Google Translate. Ben gives advice. Yeah, I'm on your side. It sounds like your mom wants to be seen like a mother to your baby. This bonding time is for the baby's parents. Don't dilute that.
Adults of Reddit, what is something you enjoy that society deems childish?
Fish and percolator. She already had her early bonding time with you. It's your turn. Using the swings at the park. Swimming ordinary. Should my brother, 17M, and I, 17F, invite my brothers, 32M, crush, 30M, to Chinese New Year dinner? Riding on the grocery cart through the parking lot.
Forest friend Bambi. Ask your brother but frame it as inviting both the crush and his sister since they don't have family nearby to celebrate the new year with dramatic flourish with teary eyes. Swings. A nice swing at the park is so relaxing.
As. This is so cute. I'm invested in this story now.
Serious. When you're lying in bed at night, do you ever randomly remember some embarrassing stuff you said and beat yourself up over it? If so, what happened? Defans. Ask your brother if he'd be okay with it. Sometimes setting up a random meeting doesn't work out.
I was really drunk once, and I got a phone call. I thought the caller ID said Matt, which was the name of a good friend at the time. So I yelled, "What's up, you sexy motherfucker?" into the phone. Turns out it wasn't Matt. It was Mark, who was my boss at the time, calling to ask if I could come in that evening to cover a shift. He was very old school, late 50s. No sense of humor. The awkward silence before he awkwardly pretended he hadn't heard it will haunt me forever.
Responsible Sherbert. My 21M girlfriend, 21F, never asks anything about my life. Trick-or-treating with my little brother as kids.
Stranger Zero and Reddit. It seems like she's checking out of the relationship. Whether it's intentional or not, her actions indicate that she doesn't care. Can't be bothered, doesn't want to make an effort, etc. None of those things are conducive to a happy, healthy relationship. How long have you guys been together? Have you approached her regarding this at all?
I turn back to the woman and she goes, "Oh, actually I was talking to those people," and points behind me to different kids.
Torn down unit. I try not to be negative with replies here when possible. But as someone who has been in this position, if this is to the point that you actually have to sit someone down and discuss them taking any interest in your life, it's not good. One of my exes was like this. I'd talk to her about it, and a couple of weeks later things would be right back to how they were. I always encourage communication, but when I read your post and see how familiar sounds, I also tend to think it's just not worth it. Being the only one putting an effort into a relationship is a really crappy situation. For the person I was with who was like this, it's just how they were. They might have been able to change it, but I had real doubts they would take that effort or wanted to. If you have those same kind of doubts, I would just move on. There are people out there whose personalities will match yours better. Edit. Typo.
Now, I'd love to be able to say that I was tired that morning, or that I was simply too preoccupied with what I was doing. But that would be a lie.
Killer lymphocyte. I had a BF like this. Our relationship felt like I was interviewing Hi Monsieur. They'll stick around as long as they don't have better options. Find your self-respect and get out. Someone else would love to hear about everything about you. Not worth it one bit.
The man slowly returned his fist. He and his partner became transfixed on the part of his hand that my finger touched. The man held his hand up to see if I left a mark. His partner joined him in looking. There was no mark. They looked back towards me. I looked at them and then smiled. Naked cyclist. I, 27F, have an older friend of 8 years, 76 meters, who keeps discussing death and wills with me. Edit.
McCannum. He's at an age where death is to be expected just around the corner. I get that you're afraid it'll make your friendship feel different if you're in his will. But to be honest, refusing to discuss this with him is a bit selfish. It sounds like he keeps trying to lean on you for some comfort and support in dealing with this. And you keep refusing. Hi Monsieur, to be frank, you're the one refusing to reward him for his friendship at the moment. Of course, you're not obligated to talk about death or anything else with him, but it sounds like you really care and he really needs it. And it really doesn't have to be a super big deal. People die, especially when they're old. Maybe he'll be better able to push the thought of that aside again if he feels like he's done the necessary practical preparations.
Amber Mush. The hat on the cat. He has no children and you act like his surrogate child. It likely means the world to Hi Monsieur. Someday he will be gone and he can't take his money with Hi Monsieur. He wants to leave you what he earned because he loves you and sees you as family. Let him put you in his will. It will make him feel good. Like his money won't go to waste and he is taking care of you. Making will is very normal for older adults. Even much younger than Hi Monsieur. Every responsible adult I know 50 plus has a will. And many younger than that. Also, a lot of people with kids make wills. Making his will or accepting him making a will won't make him die sooner, but it will make him feel better. Also, do you want to be legally adopted? Consider it outside the will. Do you want to be officially family? That sounds super sweet. It's very light and fragile, but when the snow become a bit old, it start to be very heavy and compact. Relative agent. 76 is getting up there and it makes sense to put his plans in place. You guys are obviously close and maybe he wants to take care of you and he leaves some money behind. If you're not uncomfortable with his requests, I think it'd comforting for him to have someone he trusts and loves pull the plugs. If you're up to it, you might agree now to put his mind at ease. We're all gonna die one day and it's important to get your list of wants out there early on. Old age aside, any one of us could get hit by a car tomorrow, so even for you I'd recommend doing a will. It's not morbid to ask these questions at our ages or his, but his is certainly closer, so I'd meet him head on with what he wants to talk about or plan. When everything is blanketed and not touched, it's beautiful and everything is absolutely silent, at least where I live. But it is terrifying to drive on poorly plowed roads. Once it starts melting and there is some snow piles here and there, it looks ugly. Especially when it turns gray, black from all the cars.
Salad of jeans. I, 32F, am questioning my relationship because of my fiancé's, 36M, drinking. Fun for the first few days, then you really would just like feeling back in your fingers and toes. Anti-fascist. If I were in your shoes, I wouldn't marry this guy until and unless he'd been sober and in treatment for a considerable period of time. I'd actually seriously be considering breaking off the relationship at this point. He's exhibiting signs of alcoholism and that only gets worse, as does the behavior. The losing his temper part is especially worrisome. Drinking doesn't make you a different person. It just lowers your inhibitions so it's easier for you to show your bad side.
That's not a NIFA. Never marry someone assuming they will change, especially when it comes to alcohol use. My mom did this. She thought getting married would make my dad grow up. Then she thought having kids would make him grow up. Then, after 30 years of being married to an alcoholic, she thought leaving him would make him grow up. Nothing did. He always chose drinking. This sounds terrible, but they really were in love. He wasn't a bad person. He just had a really bad disease. I would encourage you to seriously consider what your future will look like if he's not willing to change.
Definitely me one account.
Current climate. Hey, I'm recovering from alcohol abuse, so my perspective is biased in that way. Don't marry this guy until these problems are not problems anymore. Alcohol abuse and alcoholism don't ever get better unless the individual 1. recognizes and accepts that they have a problem. 2. has a strong desire to change their entire life to fix this problem. And 3. has the willingness to take concrete steps to address the problem. In practical terms, there are some things you should consider doing before you get married. Al-Anon. This organization holds anonymous meetings for family, friends of alcoholics. Might be good to go for yourself and get some support and advice from people who also deal with this. Couples counseling would give you a neutral third party to arbitrate delicate conversations. Also could help connect you and fiancé with resources if he does want to make some changes. Individual counseling, validation and support for dealing with a difficult situation. To answer your question, yes, this can be salvaged. But as I mentioned, only if those conditions are met. The first step is telling him how his drunk behavior makes you feel in the moment, how it is problematic for your relationship, and how it makes you feel about the future. Good luck, Op.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.